Okay, so slight second thoughts about this. Feet in BIRO. Where we're going to start. Here we go. I can't see anything. Okay, yes I can. So I'm just doing a bit of an outline of the shape of my foot, so I can talk you through what to look for. So you might just look down at your foot like this. BIROs are good because they're decisive. You've got to just make marks, but it's worth starting quietly. And with that outline, I've got the arch of the foot and the bone of the big toe and then the big toe there. But the first thing to point out in terms of the form of the foot is this change in plane here along that line, running really from the center of the shin down to the middle of the big toe. So there is a plane here on the top of the foot, which with my foot I hope you can see is dark. And as I say, that divides the foot from a sharp instep down to a more gently curving top of the foot. So that's to get my main bit of modelling in. So now I think I'll go a bit further and get that big toe in. What you can see to a certain extent with the way my foot is positioned is the fact that the big toe goes in one direction, the smaller toes tend to curve down a bit in a different direction. I'll show you that when we look at the foot straight on, you'll see that more obviously. So now that I've got that main plane, I'm going to put a toenail in there and I'll just strengthen some of this outline, and then let's look at a different view of the foot. But maybe the other thing to say, actually, now that I'm at that point at the back of the heel, see how far back the heel bone goes. So we've got an ankle bone here, and as with when I was, if you saw me drawing hands in BIRO, I was suggesting there are certain bits of emphasis towards the end of doing the drawing where you might put in some darker accents which make all the difference. So let's go for another view. I've put a mirror on the floor so that you can and I can look at my foot from a different direction. There's a slipper. So let's see, we can try this. We can try a foot a bit more straight on. There we go. Put that one over here. How should we do that? There we go. So getting a bit of an outline first. So this is a very foreshortened foot. That's the kind of wedge shape, oops, that it needs to fit into, something like that. And what I've already said about this plane, that part of my ankle is dark, that's really where the shin bone is, and this line, this division coming down the centre of the foot to the big toe, and that I can also put into shadow. Here you see a bit better what I'd said before, that the big toe sits flat on the ground in this particular position, whereas the little toes, which are on a curving edge, are either curling down, or I think mine are more or less going straight out. Maybe the little one goes down a bit. From this point of view as well, the toes, you can see most of that toe, but then the others are one behind the other, so they're a little bit hidden. And if you like, there's a kind of knuckle that they're on there. So when you're drawing feet, I've gone straight into toes, but I should do other things. Very often it's little bits of little accents that make toes work, but let's come back to toes in a minute. Let's work our way back to the ball of the foot, the arch of the foot, and there you can see that the heel bone is a separate form, and then it does even go back, even from this point of view. You can see how far it goes back. So that's a better looking foot, and what it needs is a little bit more modelling maybe of the front of these toes. That's almost enough, I think. A little bit of shadow in there. So let's just try one more, which might be an odd view where you can see underneath the foot and also the side of it. So here is my ankle and the ankle bone, and I'm again, because I'm working in BIRO, which I think is useful, you can't rub it out, but it's worth starting fairly kind of tentatively. So that's the sort of shape we've got. Maybe my ankle should be there. And what I've already talked about, that division from the shin coming down to the big toe, that's where it is. So this light shape that we've got here on the side of the foot is that plane there. So maybe what I should do is just a bit of shading, just to sort out what's the underneath of the foot and what's the side. And then into that I can maybe draw the big toe, and then as I said, the kind of curving knuckle, and then that's the shape of the sole of the foot. And about here is the underneath of the heel, and about here is the underneath of that part of the foot, whatever that's called. And then I'll just get in some toes. So that's a funny looking toe, but it's just to distinguish. The main point really is to get you to distinguish between the underneath of the foot and then the side. And I feel like the heel could come further, and it might help to model that a bit and model the ankle. So there you go, just some quick things, some feet in BIRO. Try that, try starting off fairly tentatively, get some kind of outline shape, sort out the top of the foot from the side of the foot, and then maybe strengthen things, and in places see what happens when you add darker accents at particular places. They often make a big difference to the drawing working. Okay, thank you.